I read 265 books in 2025, so let's talk about my most disappointing reads of the year. Um, First off, I read The Hunchback of Notre Dame and I fucking hated it. It was so long and boring, and I was so upset because I really love the opera in French. Belle is one of my favorite songs of all time. I really love the Disney movie. I thought I was gonna love this book, and no, I hated it. I hate Victor Hugo's writing. Was not a fun time. I finished it out of spite. Now, that's the only one really on this list that I think I truly, absolutely hated. The other ones I just didn't like as much as I thought I was going to. So, first off, The Unbroken by C.L. Clark. It's a sapphic trifecta. I was ready. I love the Jasmine Throne. Um, this one just didn't pull me in. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was fine. It never pulled me in the way I wanted to. I was ready to love this book, and it just never quite got there. Um, Same thing for Catabasis. I'm obviously a huge R.F. Kuang fan. I love the Poppy War trilogy. I really enjoyed Babel, though I didn't enjoy Babel quite as much as other people. I liked Yellowface. I only gave this 3 stars. I never really felt invested in this romance between the two characters. It never grabbed me. It felt not dry. I don't know. There was something that just wasn't hitting for me about this book. Along in that same vein, I was really disappointed by The Witch King by Martha Wells. I'm a big Murderbot fan, and I know that Murderbot is not like her other works, but I was really excited to try something else by her. And I don't know, The Witch King, once again, I thought it was fine. I thought it was fine. It was a little bit too convoluted and confusing for my taste. And I don't know, I just never felt like I really cared what was gonna happen. Next, this is not one that I had read any of this author's other works. I think this might even be her debut. It was one I'd read the back of the book and it was on sale, so I was like, ah, that sounds like it'd be a good time. And I always am looking for more books set in Appalachia. It was The Bog Wife. This book was a mess. It definitely wasn't what I thought it was going to be going in. I thought it was going to be more like folk horror type. No, instead it was just weird. And I just didn't like any of the characters. Never really cared about the story. Oh, going back to authors I wanted to try because I like their other works. I read Shaman's Crossing by Robin Hobb because I love Realm of the Elderlings. I think it's in my top 5 series of all time. I did not give a shit about Shaman's Crossing. Once again, it was fine, but I never cared about that main character. In fact, he got on my nerves a lot. Um, I was like, oh, whiny little rich boy. Just didn't really give a shit. Next up for books that disappointed me is my fantasy and sci-fi book club read Paradise 1. And we picked this because it was one of our members who's one of my good friends. It was his like favorite read of the year so far. And it's like a space horror. And I went in really optimistic and I thought I was going to really like it. And then it was exceedingly average. And it really bothered me that it, in my opinion, did not build suspense the correct way. Because, in my opinion, we should always build up the cannibalism. I think that cannibalism should be built up to, not jumped right into. So I felt the exact same way about The Starving Saints, which was sadly picked by the same person. And we have, in fact, given him shit for picking both of those books and then them being exceedingly average. I just feel like we're rushing into cannibalism too quickly, which is an insane sentence to say. Next was The Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyons. Me and my husband went to Atlanta earlier this year, and that way we could see Joe Abercrombie, and he was talking to Jen Lyons. I just really liked her personality, and I've had one of her books on my shelf for a while, so I was excited to try it. And once again, I just kind of thought it was fine. I gave that 4 stars. I was somewhat interested. I don't know if I'm going to continue the series because I don't know if I care enough to do that whenever I have so many other things to read. It was also a little bit too convoluted with the body switching. I don't know. It just wasn't quite my thing. But I think what was the biggest disappointment this year It's in the same series as my favorite read of last year, and it was Ship of Destiny, the third book in the Life Ship Traders. And for the first two-thirds of that book, it was my favorite book of the year. It was my favorite Robin Hobb book. It was just so masterful. I was bragging to one of my friends because I was like, it's like she has this giant chessboard. She's just moving all of her pieces, and I like to see how they're coming together. But then something happened to one of the characters, and I hated how it was handled and how her whole story was resolved. It made me so mad that I knocked an entire star off the book. I still gave it 4 stars. I still love the Life Ship Traders. But that singular thing that happened to a single character in a huge multi-point of view story made me so mad that I knocked an entire star off because I hated how it was handled, and I'm happy to make a video about it if anyone is curious.